What's up YouTube, Dal here from Zephyr War Games, and bringing you the long-awaited update for Elemental Heroes. Now, technically this shouldn't just be called Elemental Heroes, this should just be actually Heroes, and the reason for that is you play everything. You play Elementals, Evils, Destinies, and even Visions. It's absolutely insane. But we got a brand new card in the form of On Shuffle, and that card is insane for the deck. So I thought I'd bring you an update to show you how it works. I'll even show you a very basic combo at the end that you should have seen multiple times if you have been following hero decks online, but it does incredibly well. I love this deck and I can't wait to show you exactly what we've got. So please smash that like button, hit that notification bell and subscribe so you do not miss out on any more upcoming content of the whole of 2023. So let's start with the main deck. Every pretty much hero build is relatively the same because it all follows a very basic structure, and there's a couple of little adaptations depending on how you want to personalize it. So for the elemental heroes, we go with two Stratos, 2 Shadow Mist. I play the 1 Liquid and the 1 Honest Neos. We've then got for the Vision heroes, triple Faris alongside double Vion and the 1 Increase. Now the 1 Increase can be a little bit risky because if you open it, the Vision Hero combo kind of sucks, basically, which is why you'll see profiles that play 2 of it. It's entirely up to you. I'm trying it back out of 1, purely because you don't want to see it at all, and it's that old argument of double Garnet. It's like, do you play 2 Garnets because you see 1, or do you play 2, or do you just play at 1 and take the risk? The best thing with this deck now is it has adapted that it doesn't rely on this heavily. It's not like, it's just an additional extension, and you can hold it back as late as you want. For the Destiny Heroes, we are running 2 Mali. Well, technically 3 when you involve this guy, Denier. Please, can we have Mali back to 3? I want to see what he can do when I can get 4 Malis a turn. And then, of course, we do have the 1 Plasma, and, of course, the 1 Dark Angel. Shout out to Carl, who hooked me up with a secret of that one. Pretty sure he also hooked me up with a secret of that one as well, so he's definitely my Destiny Hero dealer. Dark Angel is incredibly powerful in this deck. It's not so amazing right now, and what I mean by that is you're still going to play it, you're still going to main it, but the thing is, when you give it to your opponent, you need to do that little bit more to stop them. So Dark Angel, basically, whoever controls it cannot activate spell cards, or when they do, they're negated. And the best thing about that is it means that they can't even Dark Ruler, they can't evenly, because they'll already have a monster on the field, they can't early doors imperm your Dark Claw, which is so annoying when that happens. But then you're pretty much shutting them down from being able to turn off your Dark Claw. Now, obviously, there are ways that they can play around it, is that they can try and normal summon a monster and link it off, but usually your end board is going to be something like a Phoenix DPE plus a Dark Claw. So not only are you banishing their stuff so they can't recur, but you're also going to be able to kind of pop the card that will threaten to link this off or get rid of it. Now, obviously, they will have the ability to kind of use it for a Link Karibo if anyone is playing that right now. So it is very specific depending on what you're going to be using it against. And the last hero I still play is the Evil Hero, a Dusted Gold. I still really like it, and I feel that the fact that not a lot of people are actually playing it will catch people off guard because they won't expect that in a hero matchup. So if they know the hero matchup and they play against the hero matchup, they'll be like, right, okay, cool, I'll expect the Dark Angel. I know they don't play this anymore, and then you'll go Evil Hero and you'll go into Bane. And Bane is still an incredibly powerful boss monster. Obviously, it's better going second. And if you want to tailor your deck or build for going second, that's when you start looking into playing stuff like Super Polys and everything else. But this lineup works out perfectly fine for me. Obviously, a Dusty Gold is a bit of a brick if you see him early alongside Dark Calling. But you want to kind of get to him as late as possible. And that's where multiple strategies come into play and everything else. So that's it for the hero monster lineup. As you can see, it's actually a relatively small monster lineup in comparison to the spells that I'm about to show you as well. So for the spell lineup, we are rocking. I've gone with Triple Pot Prosperity. Now the reason I've gone with Triple Pot of Prosperity is you have so many like 1-card power plays that it's never really a bad thing resolving Prosperity. It's rare you're ever going to resolve it twice. So when you resolve it once, like just a quick little preview of the extra deck, you can cut out one of the Destiny heroes you're not going to use. You can also cut out a second Dark Claw if you want to be a little bit risky. You've also, if they're not playing back row at all, you can get rid of Acid. You've also got the option to get rid of Adoration, Trinity if you're not going to OTK that way, Bane as well, one of the Cross Crusaders, and then everything else you kind of want to keep. So you've got a lot of options to kind of dig out, and the reason you want to do that is because you're ideally trying to dig for your combo pieces in the form of stuff like Fusion Destiny. A Hero Lives can also be incredibly powerful. Mask Change, less so reliant on that one now because we have On Shuffle, such a good card. So these are like, you see, all of these are at free. So you've got, what's that, 15 cards that are 1-card power cards. And all you're really doing is you're using Prosperity to dig to one of these. And once you get to it, you're just good to rock and roll. Like, the combo involves Fusion Destiny and On Shuffle, and like just being able to dig for the other point. And on top of that as well, a little spoiler, we are main decking Rivalry. So if you've already got the plays and you know you're going to be able to get to the Dark Angel to your opponent's board, you can then dig for a Rivalry, and there's just like no way they're breaking that. So you've got a DPE plus a Rivalry locking them into Warriors, and then a Dark Law. It's like they're not playing that, but they're not playing that. It's going to come back to you. You're going to kill the Dark Angel in the end phase, or if they set a load of cards, you can actually leave it so they can't quick play drop blitz you or anything like that. You DPE, kill off the back row, kill off the Dark Angel, and then you're free to swing it for game the next turn. So On Shuffle is the brand new card, and I really, really, really wish this had a smaller errata, and I'll tell you about it when I get to it. But what makes this card so good is you shuffle an Elemental Hero monster, or Neospatial monster, you control into the deck. And if you do, you special an Elemental Hero monster or a Neos monster, a Neospatial monster with a different name. So the idea is you basically have a tag out to take your Shadow Mist into a Stratos, or your Stratos into a Shadow Mist. Obviously, the ideal scenario is you want to be turning your Stratos into a Shadow Mist. You also have the abilities of turning a Liquid Soldier into a Shadow Mist as well, which also kind of made me consider, do I want to play Solid Soldier again? But so the idea is you're just basically going to tag out to those, which means you've got even more consistency to get the mask change. So it's like, thank you very much, I now have a direct and more consistent way of outing a tier element board. It does have a secondary effect, and this is where I want the errata, or I would have loved the errata to come into play. So, you banish this card from the graveyard, shuffle from your graveyard into the deck either one Elemental Hero monster and one Neospatial monster, or one Elemental Hero Neos, then draw a card. You can only use each effect once per turn. Now, the reason I want this to have an errata is I would have loved this to have said a Neos monster. Now, not Neospatian, but an Elemental Hero Neos monster. Why is that important? Well, quite simply, I could have looped this guy. We could have looped this and got a draw, which would have been broken. Now, obviously, I know the idea. It's all about playing Neospatians. It's all about playing, you know, Neos cards and Neos-related decks. But it would have been really, really cool. It might have been a little bit too far to summon to spin back any Elemental Hero monster, but being able to spin back an Elemental Hero Neos would have been like Neos monster would have been insane. But yeah, is what it is. Really cool card for the day, and I'm so hyped that we actually got it. And then we play a lot of one-offs. We've got the one Miracle Fusion, the one Poly, the one Dark Calling, the one Rota, the one Foolish Burial, and the one Call by the Grave. So all of these have their utilities. All of them make pretty much sense. Arguably, you could cut Call by the Grave right now. And the reason I say that is it's rare that people are playing a lot of hand traps. And the hand traps that people usually kind of default to will be something like a Bysteel, which you can't call by anyway, Nibiru, which you can't call by, and Imperm, which you can't call by. So it's like, is it worth that one-off for that odd chance my opponent has an Ash? And even then, when you activate a Hero Lives, if they have an Ash, it is incredibly tempting for your opponent to Ash that. And they go, okay, Prosperity, Fusion Destiny, On Shuffle, everything else like that is just going to still get me to the end goal that I need. So ultimately, you could cut the Call by the Grave, and I believe that will take the deck down to an exact 40-card deck. So, entirely up to you. And then I am main decking 2 Rivalry of the Warlords. The reason behind this is it could also be Forbidden Droplets if you want to as well. But the reason I went with Rivalry was if I do get stuck under something like a D-Shifter, not that that's a massive, massive issue, it is a bit of a pain for Fusion Destiny, like looping the plays back. But if I kind of get caught under a barrier statue, something like that, Rivalry not so much is going to help you in that barrier statue matchup, but it will give you time to kind of control the board. And the idea is that if you go first and you get this, plus the ability to get Dark Angel to your opponent's board, it's near enough GG. Like, there's no way they win that. So yeah, really kind of cool option. Like I said, this can easily be Super Poly. It could be Forbidden Droplet. It really depends on what the local environment is like and what you fear the most for what you adapt the Rivalry with. But if not, the Rivalry goes into the side deck because you are only playing Warriors. Because funnily enough, Heroes got a card that said, like, not only did they have a card that says you can only special summon Dark Heroes for the rest of the turn, but they also have a card that says you can only special Heroes for the rest of the turn. It's like, oh, bruh. Anyway, moving on to the extra deck. So for our Destiny Heroes, we play one extra super shiny Destiny Hero Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer. So apart from Dragoon, this was like the next Starlight. I was like, I must own this. I then play the one Dystopia. Now, a lot of people don't play this, but the reason I play this is it gives you a option to win in time. Now, obviously, you're choosing to go through this over this, But the reason Dystopia is actually really kind of cool is if you know you're in a Bysteel matchup, what makes it really cool is usually in a Bysteel matchup, they are going to Bysteel banish your DPE. Like, there is no doubt about that. That card is getting banished. Whereas if you go for a Dystopia, Dystopia will allow you to send... obviously, you can send Dark Angel if you want to, but you're not going to get any attack boost. You can send the Denier and, of course, the Mali combo still. You then burn your opponent for 1100, which means you're also out of Cowboy range. It gives you the ability to continue your combos. And on top of that, throughout the continued play, you will ultimately go up into a Dread Decimator, which will adapt the attack of your Dystopia, meaning that it does have a interactive pop during your opponent's turn. So it's like a one-turn DPE, but it doesn't put itself in the graveyard so that it can be very easily like Bysteeled away. The other Destiny hero we do play is the one Dangerous, and the reason you play this is this gives you that Foolish Burial option. So what I mean by that is when you see the combo, you actually need to pop your own DPE to put that third Destiny hero in the graveyard to resolve the Angel play. Whereas if you're fearful of like a Bysteel, if your opponent knows the play, they'll banish it early anyway. But with the Dangerous, you actually have a way of setting that up as well, and it can send a Shadow Mist to trigger searches. Then for the Master Heroes, we do play the double Darklaw, and then of course the one Acid. Pretty straightforward and simple on that one. Darklaw is Mac Daddy. Literally, I think if it had like 100 attack points, it would be so much broken. Just because 24 is not that big of a threat to deal with. Like, a Bysteel can crash into it. Yeah. Acid, pretty straightforward and simple on that one. And Elemental Heroes, we play 1-0 and the one Sunriser. And then I've decided to go with the Adoration. Now, as an alternatively, I played Adoration over, and I'll quickly try and get access to him, this guy here. And the reason that I did that is the Elemental Hero Escardo, I believe that's the right name. So this one it requires an Elemental Hero monster and a Dark monster, and it gains 100 attack for each Elemental Hero monster in your graveyard. Whereas Adoration requires just 2 hero monsters, so because you can see the range of hero monsters I've got, I'm never really, like, you should have enough to do it with an Elemental Hero monster. But like the materials I use to make the other guy, I can make this one with just as easily. Then this one also has the ability to target a face-up monster I control, except this one, and a face-up monster your opponent controls. And then you make your opponent's monster lose attack and defense equal to the other monster that I control. So basically, if I've got, I don't know, let's say, just for the sake of ease, I've got these two on the board, and my opponent's got a monster on the board, I can use Adoration to target my opponent's monster. My opponent's monster will lose 25 and 12. And that just means that everything else is just a lot easier to punch over. And then, of course, that is a way of going into Trinity. You can then target Trinity, would have been a better example. Reduce your opponent's attack, and then it just goes boom, 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 and pretty much goes for game. Bane. So Bane is just the board wipe, and then a pusher on OTK as well. And then double Cross Crusader. Can I please have this as a foil? That would be really nice. And then Wonder Driver and Decimator. So the extra deck is all pretty straightforward. It's like sometimes if Imperm starts coming back into the format, you can look at playing stuff like the Wind one as well, and kind of move from there. Another thing that's a little bit of a shame is I would have really liked to have had on shuffle as a quick play. Like, that would have been insane. Like, opponent tries to Imperm your Stratos, you just go nope. That would have been kind of cool. Another thing as well, so shuffle an Elemental Hero on monster you control into the deck. I suppose, and I could be wrong on this one, but technically I believe you can on-shuffle your Absolute. Now obviously Absolute wouldn't trigger because it needs to go to the... it can't trigger when it goes back to the extra deck, but technically you could turn that into a Darklaw, Darklaw, and you could also turn Sunriser into a theoretical Darklaw as well. But that's just something to mention that I just noticed. So this is your 2-card combo, the On Shuffle and of course Fusion Destiny. Now this is a very specific 2-card combo. There are other ways to make this combo work, but this is the best and most simple way to do it, which is why we also place Prosperity to increase the consistency of getting these 2 cards. So you start off with Fusion Destiny. This is going to send your Mali and your Denier to the graveyard and allow you to summon out your DPE. You're then going to be able to trigger Mali's effect to banish it from the graveyard to summon out the second Mali from the deck. You'll then be able to use Denier's effect to summon itself back to the board and put Mali back to the top of the deck. You'll then be able to link these two together and you go into your Cross Crusader. There we go. Cross Crusader's effect will bring back Mali, pop the Mali, and then search you out a Stratos. We've done all this without normal summoning, so you normal summon your Stratos, use its effect to search you out the Dark Angel. You then activate on shuffle to put the Stratos back, but you then need to chain the DPE in order to get your third Destiny hero into the graveyard. So you chain DPE to target the on shuffle, destroying both of those, and then triggering the DPE effect to make sure that you remember it can then come back. This is when you're going to special summon out your Shadow Mist. Shadow Mist effect will then trigger. Make sure you put Shadow Mist in defense, and this will search you out a Mask Change. Now the reason you put this in defense is so that they can't switch the Angel to attack and then crash into it and then unlock their plays. So you're now going to have 3 Destiny heroes in the graveyard. Your 1 Phoenix Enforcer, your 1 Mali, and your 1 Denier. And you're going to be able to special summon the Angel to your opponent's side of the field. Now, at this point, it's entirely up to you on how you want to do this. So you've got 2 ways of doing it. You could, if you want to, banish the Mali from the graveyard, special this Mali, and then turn Cross Crusader into Decimator. But then that really means nothing, because then they'll just switch Angel to attack, punch into it, and then all you're relying on is a DPE. And that's if they don't then have an Imperm or a Dark Ruler to turn it off. So the safest of routes is to leave it exactly as this is. You pass your opponent, and then during the standby phase, of course, your DPE will come back, giving you a very nice ability to non-target pop a card. Then what you want to do is, as soon as they kind of threaten, or if you want to do it early doors, entirely up to you, you can activate Mask Change, and you are going to specifically change your Cross Crusader into the almighty, all-powerful Masked Darklaw. So Darklaw, again, put it in defense. Yes, okay, it's a little bit risky, because if your opponent has a monster, they could just normal summon of 19 defense and get rid of it, but they still need to get rid of the Angel. So as this moment currently stands, they can't get rid of the Angel. If they commit their normal summon, you then go DPE to pop it, and they can't link and continue, unless they've got, of course, a Link Karibo. So this is the safest route to make sure they can't just go boom, poof, and unlock themselves. And it is going to be more so, you go Decimator if not, and then you turn your Shadow Mist into your Darklaw, and then your Shadow Mist will give you a search for a follow-up. Keeping in mind as well, you would have reshuffled your deck, so you wouldn't there won't be a Mali on the top of the deck unless you want to special summon out. You'll still have 3 more cards to play with, and it keeps on going. So that is pretty much it. A very simple combo to go with this deck. Now, I absolutely love Heroes. It's very fun to play this deck, and I really want the deck to get its own, like, Omni Negate. That's kind of what it's missing. Like, at this moment, we're having to play around a lot of kind of interruptions, a lot of hand traps. And I know that's the way of the game, and the deck is still incredibly good even with all of that. But it would be really, really nice to get a card that basically, like a Link monster that can help you produce an Omni Negate. Like, Tribute a Hero, negate an effect. That'd be really, really cool. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Till next time, guys, as absolutely always, stay safe. And, of course, happy dueling.